This is a breaking news alert, and what I'm about to tell you is happening right now. Moments ago, a major development out of Washington has shocked every Social Security recipient across the country, something no one expected, and it just became official. Sources confirm that Social Security benefits, which averaged around $1,600, have now been increased to $2,400 for millions of Americans. And this time, it's not a temporary bump, not a one-time adjustment, and not a short-term relief plan. According to a newly released decision, this raise has been locked in permanently. Yes, you heard that correctly. A permanent increase. In the last hour, internal SSA documents and statements coming from senior officials verified that a new formula has just been activated. That formula immediately adjusts monthly payments for retirees, SSDI recipients, SSI recipients, survivors' benefits, and disabled workers. And based on the information now confirmed, the new average payment jumps closer to $2,400. This decision blindsided analysts, stunned financial experts, and sent shockwaves through senior communities. Phone lines are already overloaded as millions try to figure out what changed, why it happened today, and when the new amount hits their bank accounts. Here's what we know so far. A newly signed action in Washington, pushed forward in the last 48 hours and finalized minutes ago, updates the benefit calculation for the first time in years. This update gives heavier weight to essential expenses: rent, food, utilities, prescriptions, and Medicare costs. The result? A historic increase that remains in place indefinitely. Officials are calling this the largest structural boost to Social Security in over a decade. And for the first time, the increase applies across all major benefit categories. The rollout begins immediately. According to the deposit schedule, SSI recipients will see the raise first, SSDI and survivors' benefits follow next. Retirees will receive updated deposits on their regular Wednesday cycle. Every recipient is expected to see the new amount within the next 30 days. Now, here's the part millions are waiting to hear. You do not need to apply. You do not need to call. You do not need to verify anything. Your increase is automatic, already approved, already processed, and already moving toward implementation. Despite the sudden news, officials insist the Social Security Trust Fund will remain stable. New projections show the system can support this adjustment without reducing future benefits. Right now, families across America are refreshing their banking apps, checking their statements, and calling loved ones to confirm the news. And within hours, we expect the SSA to release a public statement explaining how this dramatic change was pushed through and what comes next. For millions who've struggled with rising prices, shrinking savings, and higher medical costs, this permanent raise could be life-changing. We've been hearing so many updates coming across the wire lately. Proposals, discussions, rumors about benefit increases, structural changes, new payment formulas. And while some of those ideas sound promising, this particular change is one that every single beneficiary needs to understand because unlike a lot of the talk happening in Washington, this isn't a proposal. This isn't something that might happen. This percentage increase is real. It's scheduled and it's going to affect roughly $70 million people across the country. And the part that worries me most is that many seniors will look at their next year's deposit, see the number, and have no idea why their check looks smaller than they expected or why their raise feels like it disappeared before they even got it. So I want to walk you through what this really means, why it's happening, and how this change silently reaches into your check before it ever reaches your hands. Now, before we go any further, let me introduce myself for anyone who may be new here. My name is Susan Harper. I've spent a little more than South's text to $10 years helping American seniors understand their retirement benefits, navigate Medicare, and protect the savings they've worked their whole lives for. And in that time, I've learned something important. Most of the financial stress seniors carry doesn't come from spending too much or planning too little. It comes from surprises, unexpected changes, hidden adjustments, and technical rules that nobody explains clearly. My goal is to make sure you never feel in the dark about the money you've earned. And this percentage increase is exactly the kind of change that deserves a clear explanation because it affects your monthly budget, your healthcare costs, and your peace of mind. My hope is that by the end of this video, you not only understand what's changing, but feel calmer, more prepared, and more confident knowing you're not facing this alone. So let's talk about what this increase really is, and just as importantly, what it isn't. A lot of people see this percentage and their minds immediately jump to one thing, text, so cost of living adjustment. And who could blame them? After the last couple of years when we saw historically high text coles dollars, many seniors are hoping for that kind of boost again. But let me be very clear here so there is no misunderstanding at all. This don't text 9.16% dollar is not your text cole, so it is not a raise to your benefit. It is not extra money in your pocket. This percentage increase is the adjustment coming to Medicare Part B premiums in Salter Text 2026 dollars. That means it's an expense, a cost, not a benefit. And because Medicare Part B is automatically deducted from most Social Security checks, that higher premium quietly reduces the amount of your monthly deposit before you even see a single penny of it. In other words, this isn't money being added to your check. This is money taken out of it. And that's why this is going to surprise so many seniors. But here's where it becomes even more important. In the same year that Medicare Part B premiums are rising by text, or 9.6%, the actual Social Security text coles for text 2026 dollars is only about text 2.8%, which means the cost increase is more than 3 times larger than the raise. It's like getting a small raise at work only to have your rent go up even faster. You don't see the raise at all. It gets swallowed up before you can feel it. And that's exactly what's happening here. This is the part I want to break down gently, clearly, and in a way that makes sense without all the technical language, because you deserve to understand exactly what's happening to your benefits and why so many people are going to be caught completely off guard by this shift. When we look closely at what this text 99.69% increase really means, the picture becomes even clearer. And honestly, it becomes more frustrating because, again, this isn't a latex 9.6% dollar boost to your benefits. This is a latex 9.65% jump in what you pay for Medicare Part B. In latex 2025 dollar, that monthly premium is already an amount. And I know from talking to so many of you that even that amount feels heavy for retirees living on fixed incomes. But starting in Text 2002's $26, that number climbs by another $17.90 per month, bringing the total premium to just about $203. Now, that in-text of $17 or $90 may not sound like a massive increase at first glance, but when your income is fixed, when every bill has gone up over the past few years, and when many seniors are stretching every dollar just to keep up, that extra text on $17, $90 isn't small. It's groceries. It's gas. It's part of a utility bill. It's real, meaningful money. And here's where the frustration settles in for a lot of people. This increase comes directly out of your Social Security check automatically, whether you're ready for it or not. There's no notice asking for permission. There's no option to postpone it. There's no button to push saying, I don't agree with this. It's taken out before your check even hits your account. And the part that troubles me most is that many of the headlines floating around right now are confusing seniors by implying that this text 9.6% has something to do with a benefit raise. It doesn't. Not at all. The truth is, this is another expense being added to your plate at a time when most seniors are already dealing with rising prices in nearly every category: food, medication, housing, insurance. And when you're on a fixed income, rising costs hit harder because your income doesn't change with inflation the way other people's do. That's why this matters. That's why we're talking about it. You deserve to understand exactly where your money is going, and you deserve to be prepared. Now, let's talk about something that honestly feels even more shocking. The huge gap between the upcoming text 2.6% so does not text coles increase and this text 9.6% does surge in Medicare Part B premiums. When you put those two numbers side by side, it becomes painfully obvious how unfair the system feels sometimes. Imagine this. You're told you're getting a text 2.8% dollar raise to help you keep up with rising costs. That sounds nice, right? But then the price of something essential, something you can't opt out of, rises by more than 3 times that amount. How are seniors supposed to come out ahead in a situation like that? The simple answer is most won't. And I don't say that to scare you. I say it because it's the truth and because being honest with you is one of the ways I try to help you prepare and protect yourself. Let me give you a picture of what this means in real life. If you're adulting your text, COLA gives you about a calcinated text down $50 increase to your monthly benefit, but Medicare Part B takes hot text $17.90 of that away. You don't actually receive hot text, you have $50. You receive whatever is left after that premium increase is deducted. And for millions of seniors, that leftover amount is going to be surprisingly small. Some will see only a few extra dollars. Some will see almost nothing. And for those with smaller benefits, the difference may be so slim that the increase is almost impossible to notice. This is why the YAR text 9.6% YAR increase matters so much. It's not just a number, it's the difference between feeling like your cost of living adjustment is helping and feeling like it vanished into thin air. And there's another reality that seniors need to understand. When Medicare premiums rise faster than the text de COLA, it becomes harder and harder to keep up with inflation. Non-text COLA is supposed to protect your buying power, but when expenses grow faster than the raise, the protection weakens. That's exactly what we're seeing here. And it's something I've been warning seniors about for years. It's not your fault for feeling frustrated or confused. Anyone would feel that way if a raise they were counting on suddenly shrank before it ever reached their hands. That's why breaking this down clearly is so important. You deserve peace of mind, not surprises. Now let's talk about the real dollar impact this has on the average Social Security and on-text SSDI benefit, because this is where the numbers stop being theory and start being personal. The average Social Security retirement benefit heading into Chiuret Text, the 2026 dollar, is just over $2,000 per month. For Chiutex SSDI tolerant beneficiaries, the average will be roughly $1,630. And for both groups, the net text to 2% net text, COLA, will feel much smaller once that higher Medicare Part B premium is taken out. For someone receiving a cheat text $2,000 retirement benefit, a cheat text 2.88% G-text COLA amounts to roughly cheat text of $56 a month, but the premium increase of heat text $17.90 automatically subtracts from that. So your raise, once you actually see it in your bank account, drops closer to text $38. And that's before you factor in rising deductibles, co-pays, and everyday cost increases. That means nearly 1/3 of the text COLA is gone before seniors even get the chance to use it. But the situation becomes even more concerning for beneficiaries with smaller monthly checks. For someone receiving a benefit around $1,000, that line to text to 8% large text COLA translates to about YG text $28. And I want to reassure you gently but clearly, no, your check will not go down because of the Medicare Part B increase. There's a protection in place called the hold harmless rule, and it's designed to make sure your Social Security check can't decrease simply because Medicare premiums go up. Instead, if your text COLA isn't large enough to cover the premium increase, the raise you would have received is simply absorbed. In other words, instead of your check going down, your raise just disappears. You don't fall backward, but you also don't get ahead. Now, I'll be honest with you. While this rule technically protects your check from shrinking, it doesn't feel protective. Not to the seniors I work with. Not to the people barely getting by on $600 or $700 per month. These are the people who desperately need every extra dollar. And yet they're often the ones who see the smallest hot text COLA increases in their actual deposit. Imagine expecting even a modest raise of $15 or $20 only to learn that the entire amount is pulled away by higher Medicare costs. It can feel discouraging, and it's completely understandable to feel that way. And still, if there's one message I want you to take away from this part of our conversation, it's this. Nothing is wrong with your check and nothing is wrong with you. You're not misreading the numbers. You're not missing a step. The system is simply structured in a way that often leaves lower income seniors with the least benefit from COLA adjustments. And the more your premium rises, the more that imbalance shows itself. You deserve better clarity, better fairness, and better support. And I hope that by explaining this clearly, you at least feel a little more prepared, a little less blindsided, and a lot more empowered as you look ahead to 2026 though. What becomes even more concerning, and something I really want you to hear with compassion, is how this entire system impacts the seniors with the smallest monthly checks. because when Medicare premiums jump by the 9.6% dollars and COLAs only rises by HAL text tall 2.8%, the math simply doesn't work in favor of those who need help the most. Seniors receiving $600, $700, even $800 a month are already walking a financial tightrope. There's no cushion. There's no wiggle room. Every dollar has a place, and most months there aren't many dollars left over at all. These are the people who rely on COLA to breathe, to feel like at least one thing is moving in the right direction. But for them, the premium increase can swallow the entire COLAs in one bite. And it always feels backwards, doesn't it? The people who need the raise the most often get the least benefit from it. And the ones whose incomes are higher, the people who might have a little more breathing room, see a bigger portion of their COLA actually reach their pockets. I've spent over a decade sitting with seniors at kitchen tables, going through budgets together, reviewing benefit statements, and trying to make the numbers work. And I can tell you this, nothing crushes the spirit more than finally receiving news of a raise, only to discover that almost all of it has been taken away by rising Medicare costs. It feels unfair because it is unfair. And what frustrates many seniors is that the system doesn't adjust the COLA based on who needs it most. It applies the raise evenly across the board and then takes a bigger bite out of those with the smallest incomes. If the roles were reversed, if lower income beneficiaries received the larger calls text COLA dollars and higher income beneficiaries received a smaller one, the system would actually make more sense. But that's not the way it's structured today. And while we're talking about increases, it's important to mention one more piece of this puzzle that often gets overlooked, the deductible. In addition to the I-text, your 9.6% premium increase, the Medicare Part B deductible for the text $26 is also rising by about the text your 10.1%. Now, deductibles may not get as much attention as premiums because they're not taken directly out of your monthly check, but make no mistake, they matter. They matter a lot. A higher deductible means more out-of-pocket costs before Medicare begins picking up its share. And for many seniors on fixed incomes, this can affect choices you make about seeing a doctor, following up on a treatment, or filling a prescription. These increases add up not just on paper, but in the everyday decisions seniors are forced to make about their health. Think about it this way. Even if your monthly benefits don't go down, your expenses go up, sometimes significantly. That creates stress, especially when you're trying to manage chronic conditions, copays, medication costs, and the unpredictability of healthcare in general. And it's not just one price going up, it's everything, like premiums, deductibles, food, utilities, housing. So when Medicare expenses rise faster than the cost of living increases meant to protect seniors, the financial pressure builds. You end up spending more just to maintain the same basic level of care you had the year before. I know many of you worry about being a burden on your families. You worry about unexpected medical bills. You worry about what happens if your prescription suddenly costs more, or if your doctor changes networks, or if you need more frequent visits as you age. And all of those worries feel heavier when you see essential costs rising year after year. My heart goes out to you because these are legitimate concerns, and you shouldn't have to navigate them alone or feel like you're constantly bracing for the next increase. That's why understanding these changes matters, not to scare you, but to prepare you. Because when you understand what's coming and why, you can make clearer, calmer decisions about your health care and your budget. As we move deeper into this, I want to focus on what all of this truly means for your planning. Because while the numbers themselves can feel overwhelming, the real question is, what do I do with this information? And that's where I want to offer you some calm, practical guidance. When Medicare premiums rise faster than benefits, the first thing that changes is your monthly budget. For many seniors, even small adjustments can throw things off, whether it's the cost of prescriptions, groceries, or utility bills. So the most important step you can take right now is to do a gentle, honest review of your monthly expenses. Look at what you're spending, what's essential, and where you might adjust slightly. I'm not talking about drastic cuts or sacrificing your quality of life. I'm talking about awareness, because when unexpected expenses show up, the seniors who are aware are the ones who stay ahead. And remember, every year brings an opportunity to review your Medicare plan. That option exists for a reason. Whether you're on original Medicare with a supplement or a Medicare Advantage plan, there are choices available. And some plans may offer lower premiums, additional benefits, or out-of-pocket caps that work better for your situation. I can't tell you what plan to choose. Everyone's needs are different, but I can encourage you to explore your options. Too many seniors stick with the same plan for years because the paperwork feels intimidating or because they're afraid of making the wrong decision. But reviewing your plan doesn't mean you have to make a change. It simply means you're giving yourself the chance to find something that might save you money or support your health needs more effectively. And there's something else I need to mention because this time of year always brings it up: scams. Whenever Medicare enrollment season comes around, scammers become more active. They know seniors are expecting calls, letters, and information about changes. They take advantage of that confusion. So please be cautious. Never give out your Medicare or Social Security number over the phone unless you initiated the call to a verified number. Don't respond to unsolicited offers promising free upgrades or guaranteed savings. Scammers use urgency to pressure you, but legitimate Medicare help will never force you or make you feel rushed. I always remind seniors of this simple rule: if something feels off, it probably is. Now let's talk for a moment about the future, because I know many of you are wondering whether things will eventually get better. There are proposals being discussed in Washington, ideas to raise benefits, offer one-time payments, adjust formulas, or provide temporary financial relief. Some sound promising, and some have been introduced by lawmakers who genuinely want to help seniors. But at this moment, none of these proposals are final. None are guaranteed, and I would never want to give you false hope or suggest that money is on the way when it hasn't been approved. What I can promise is this: whenever there is real confirmed information that affects your benefits, whether it's higher payments, rebates, or any new type of support, I will explain it clearly and simply without the political noise or confusing language. For now, what matters most is staying informed, staying prepared, and recognizing that you're not navigating these changes alone. The goal isn't to worry, it's to understand. Because when you understand what's happening and why, the path forward becomes a little clearer, a little calmer, and a lot less stressful. And that's all I want for you: clarity, confidence, and the reassurance that you're making the best decisions for your health and your financial well-being. As we bring all of this together,